Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the third episode of the Flyered Up podcast. I am your host, Amadeo Gracia, along here with my partner, Chris Mayer.
What's up, guys?
And the funny thing, too, is that this is our fourth take of doing this because my partner decided to drink some water and he choked on it.
Oh,
So, like, in the middle of the process of recording, I'm just hearing, like, a little cough in the background. Like, dude, are you okay? What the hell's going on here?
oh man.
Yeah. So, back off the choking of Chris. A lot of news has happened over the course of the week with the Philadelphia Flyers. Travis Konecny finally signed his contract. Preseason games have finally gotten underway. And there are some little good things that are happening with this team. I like the way Alain Vigneault is bringing out the message so far. I like the way the team has looked over the course of preseason, even though like few games they've come out really sluggish. There are little details that have looked pretty good. Some players are standing out. Carter Hart specifically, the man has not allowed a goal in all of his appearances so far this preseason. Kevin Hayes and Jake Voracek, those two look like they have a lot of chemistry together. Joel Farabee, Morgan Frost, those two are getting their chances, but they're insanely snake-bitten right now. I imagine in last night's game, those two had so many chances and they just couldn't finish.
Yeah,
But
they both played real well at Raffle.
yeah, but those two are standing out pretty well, and they're making a name for themselves right now to make the roster. So, Chris, what are your thoughts over the course of the week with Konecny signing and just the whole preseason going on right now?
I think Konechny's deal, that was a good deal. It was like a meet in the middle deal for both sides. It was a little over what I expected, but I'm just happy he's signed, and now we don't have to worry about him, and he's locked up for the same term Provorov got. So we don't have to worry about them. And I think it could have helped out the cap a little bit more, but I'm not really worried about it because they are getting some cap back at the end of the season. And for the preseason, Carter Hart's played really well. As you said, he hasn't given up a goal. He was real solid last night. He was good against the Islanders on Tuesday too. I think last night's game was a lot better than the other ones because a majority of the game was a lot of veterans that played for the Flyers. And compared to the Rangers, who only had a few veterans, they had two rookie goalies in net. Their defense was, Jacob Trouba, and then they had Chris Kreider. They were really the only guys I can think off the top of my head that were at least veterans for them. So a lot of their players were also rookies, which kind of gave the Flyers the edge in last night's game. Who I think the Flyers played good. They gelled well together. As you said, Farabee, Frost, Raffle, that was a really good line. They were snake-bitten. They had a lot of good chances. And I thought Kevin Hayes played good with Voracek, Van Riemsdyk, Lindblom power play, penalty kill. They were both really solid. They had 2 power play goals last night. So I think so far everything's been going well for the Flyers. I hope they can continue.
Yeah, just going off what you said, starting with the Konecny deal, it's a really good deal for both sides. Yes, the cap hit could be a little lower, but maybe only by like $500,000 to $1 million.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. With the RFAs this season, with the monstrosity of how much money they want, this is basically meeting in the middle. And sadly, the Flyers are near cap issues right now because they're around like $1 million left in cap space, I think.
I think it's 1.2.
Yeah, so a little bit of cap tightness going into the season, but all to the importance of getting your 2 top RFAs signed. So, and like you said, looking ahead to the end of the season where we're going to get some cap relief, but it's a little too far down the road, but it's good that we have Ivan Provorov and Konecny now locked up. And also, I want to go back to Alain Vigneault for a little bit because I love the message that he's bringing to the team right now. He is making sure the veterans are fresh enough going into the season, making sure they're playing games, making sure they're not coming out rusty because a few of the preseason games to start off, the Flyers came out sluggish. We're really getting outworked by the opponents. And Alain Vigneault, and also to go along with the cuts, he wants to make sure veterans like Claude Giroux, Sean Couturier, Jake Voracek, those guys are in there fresh enough, not lacking, not going in there with poor effort. He wants to make sure these guys are giving their 100% effort each and every night. And I just love this message that Alain Vigneault is bringing to this team. And Chris, just what do you think about Alain Vigneault and the way he's working with the team right now? Do you think it's a lot different than, say, Dave Hackstall, Scott Gordon?
Oh, it's definitely different. I knew it was different from training camp. I mean, we talked about that in the last episode too, how like there was a lot of talking and he was real fast, a lot of skating. It was real fast paced, and I think that's how the Flyers have played these. Well, especially last night. But like, if you look at the way they used to play with Hackstall, like say they were down in the third period, they come out, or down in the second period, come out in the third. They played the same way. There just wasn't that jump that they had with that coach, and I definitely think that Vigneault, he's experienced. He knows what he's doing. He's taken two teams to the Cup final. Sadly, hasn't won yet. But I mean, he knows what he's doing, and I think it's a good sign too because he's showing these young guys that they have a chance to make this team. You know what I mean? Like it's not like they are going into this saying, "Oh, well, you know, I'm going up against this guy," or you know, things like that. He tells them like straight out, like you have a chance to make this team, and I think that's really given the players the confidence that they need to play to their highest potential.
Yeah, it's not like the whole situation with him and the Rangers, him and the Vancouver Canucks, him playing a bunch of veterans over the rookies.
Mm-hmm.
Now his chance with the Philadelphia Flyers, he knows that the Flyers have a very deep prospect pool, a lot of talented players in that depth chart.
Oh,
So
yeah.
he knows those guys have a possibility to sneak a lineup spot going into the regular season. So he's going to give them every chance possible to make sure they work 100% to get that spot. Mainly guys like Joel Farabee and Morgan Frost, because right now those are the two top rookies that are still on the roster right now with all these cuts that are being made. I think Vigneault believes that. I think Fletcher believes that Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee are the two top guys that can possibly make this roster out of training camp out of all the rookies. And just the way Joel Farabee and Morgan Frost plays, Joel Farabee's IQ, he just looks like he's ready to go. He knows how to read the play well. He knows where to go. He knows where to be at the right time. It's just the problem right now with Joel Farabee. He's getting his chances. Not going to lie with that. He's getting a ton of chances. The dude just needs to learn how to finish. That's his one problem. Same thing with Morgan Frost. Just like going back to last night's game. Those two have gotten a lot of chances. Morgan Frost got absolutely robbed. No, actually, Morgan Frost got robbed in the game against Boston. Joel Farabee hit a couple posts. Morgan Frost really can't find the back of the net. The two just need to learn to finish.
Yeah.
And
I feel like everything they did last night was just like they were a half step behind from each other. Like they had a lot of chances last night where Raffle would take it like behind the net and work it around to them, and they were just so close to tapping it in, and they just missed it by like an inch. They were so close to scoring last night, and they just could not get it in.
Yeah, and the same thing with Raffle. It just looked like every time he got like an open look, he would always try to at least give it to one of the two. Because I think didn't Raffle get like a 2-on-1 chance, 2-on-0, and he wanted to give it to Farabee or Frost, and they just I think it was the 2-on-1 chance with Farabee, and he hit the top corner of the net.
It was like a 2-on-0, and then it was like a 3-on-0 because someone came in from the corner and he passed it and he shot it right into the chest. I was like, oh my god. I mean, he most likely should have shot it, but it's still a heads up play. You know, he's gonna pass that on a 2-on-0 because really on a 2-on-0 you just want to wait out the goalie to try to score. But they also didn't have that much time because there was a defenseman coming in. But I mean, it was still a good play. They almost scored on it. So, and I did like what I saw from that line last night too.
Yeah, just looking at those two guys, I think possibly, who knows, maybe both of them can make the roster because, you know, Nolan Patrick, he's injured, he's week to week, and no one really knows if he's going to start the season on time. Pitlick's still injured, so that fourth line spot's still open. So who knows if Morgan Frost and both Joel Farabee can, in fact, make the roster, because we have two more preseason games left, one against Boston in Boston, one in New York against the Rangers. And then after that, we go to Europe to play one of the Switzerland teams for our last preseason game. So just if both Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee are on the roster by the time we go to Europe, I feel like that's a clear-cut sign that both of them have made the roster.
Yeah, there's because there's no way that they're going to cut them like when they're already in a whole different country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and even if they say they do go play, I mean, they could still send them down to Lehigh Valley after the game. So, I mean, I'm not going to make any judgments yet. I want to wait until the last preseason game, like a day or two after, and then we'll see what happens. But honestly, I think both of them have a great chance of making the team. They've both played really well together.
I agree. And there's also that whole like 9 game grace period where you can give the rookies a chance to see what they can do. And if you
Hmm.
don't like what they've done in 9 games, like that, I think that's usually more of like a sending them back to the juniors. But I'm not sure if that also works with the AHL as well. Like
Hmm.
you give the young guy a chance to show what he can do for 9 games. If he doesn't impress you, you can send him back to his junior team. But with both Joel Farabee and Morgan Frost, Joel Farabee really left college so he can come play in the NHL.
Yeah.
Morgan Frost, he's too old for the juniors, so both of them are eligible to play in the AHL. So we really don't know what's going to happen going down the rest of the road for preseason, but I really feel like those two have the biggest possibilities of making the roster. And just going back over the few preseason games that we had this week, the first one was against the New York Islanders on the 16th. We lost 3-1, and just it was the first preseason game of the season. Really came out sluggish.
Yeah.
A mix of young guys, prospects trying to showcase themselves. So just a
Hmm.
really sluggish outcome. Brian Elliott, I believe, played really well. And I feel like the common theme throughout this entire preseason, goaltending has not been the problem.
No.
I feel like all the goaltenders that we've used so far, Hart, Lyon, Elliott, even Berube, even though he did give up that one costly goal against the Islanders the next
Yeah.
game. I
Hmm.
feel like every goaltender has looked pretty solid so far,
Yeah.
and that's something that could be pretty hopeful going into the regular season.
Hmm.
So that's something to look
And
forward to.
I think the one thing that why they've only won one game so far has been the goal scoring. I
Yeah,
mean, Monday you score one goal. Tuesday you're up 1-0 for a majority of the game, and then you give up a goal around 6 minutes left, and then you score right after. You let them tie it, and then you lose in overtime. So that's two leads they gave up there. And then Thursday, again, only scoring one goal. But finally last night, with a majority of veterans, they get 4 goals, two of them coming on the power play. So I think it's been more of, I mean, then again, it is preseason, and majority of the games Monday they only had a few veterans play. Their first line was Hayes, Voracek, Van Riemsdyk, and then after that, it was most likely it was really just rookies. And then Tuesday's game, there was a very small amount of veterans. There really were no starters besides Carter Hart and maybe Travis Sanheim. And then Thursday's game, they had some guys, some veterans, some rookies, and then last night was mostly all veterans. So I think that was another reason why they haven't played good so far, because they haven't really had, set line mates, things like that. But I think they have played well in the preseason, and just like you said, the goaltending has been fine.
yeah, just going to the next game, the very next night against the New York Islanders, like you said, the Flyers coughed up 2 leads in that game. They lost in typical Flyers fashion and giving up the late goal in the third period, then letting them win in overtime. JF Berube, he had the puck, but it bounced out of his arm, and they managed
Yeah,
to bury it in past him. So
I don't know how he dropped that. It
it's
just sat there.
it's like a thing that I don't want to blame the goalie on, but at the second time, you have to have that.
Yeah.
So I don't want to blame Berube because both Hart that game and both Berube looked pretty solid. Berube
Hmm.
was making a lot of big saves when the Islanders were getting a ton of chances there.
Yeah.
And just like you said, there was only 4 veterans in the lineup that game and a
Right.
ton of other rookies. So
Hmm.
I think the veterans were Lawton, Raffle, Haig, and Hart, and Sanheim as well.
Hmm.
So there really wasn't much veterans on that team to, I
Yeah.
guess, make it more consistent. But it's preseason. You're mainly going to see a lot of prospects, a lot of rookies in the first few games until
Yeah.
you start getting the more roster cuts. Then you start adding the more veteran depth to the lineup.
Yeah, and another thing from Tuesday's game too, the Islanders had a lot of their veterans play. They had Barzal, Lee, uh, Nick Leddy. They had their starting goalies in. I think Varlamov played a little bit, and then they had a switch in goal too, just like the Flyers. But like both goals that Berube gave up, Matt Barzal made two great plays on them. It was two beautiful passes, one to Derek Brassard, and then another one to Eberle, which was just a really nice play shot too to tie the game. But I mean, you can't really blame the goalie there. They were kind of just letting them walk right around them, and as I said, Barzal made a really nice saucer pass, and then I don't know how he got it over to Eberle, but That was another thing too. It was kind of like a mismatch, just like last night's game with the Rangers. They didn't have a lot of their starters. We did, so I think that was another reason why. Which is fine. It's preseason. It doesn't mean anything. It's really just for each team to see what their guys can do and see what guys can compete for a spot.
Yeah, just like that. It's mainly going to be rookies the first couple of preseason games, and then
Yeah.
the first time we get the little influence of veteran depth into the lineup was the next home game, which was against the Boston Bruins, where we did come out flat a little bit. I guess that can also be from guys not being in the live action for that long period of time. You got Claude Giroux playing his first game, Sean Couturier playing his first game, Matt Niskanen playing his first game, Ivan Provorov playing his first game. So a little sluggish coming out of the gate. And the Flyers, they do fall to Boston 3-1. Morgan Frost gets absolutely robbed on one play by Yaroslav Halak. He had the net wide open, and Halak is just like diving backwards just to try to do something, and Morgan Frost just puts the puck into his glove.
He had no clue
And
where it was.
yeah, he had no clue where it was. Morgan Frost knew he missed an easy goal right there, and that just goes to the common theme of Frost and Farabee being both snake bitten in just all their preseason games so far. They're getting their chances, they just can't finish, and that's what they have to learn to do at the NHL level. And then also, a little interesting right there, Matt Niskanen in his first game in the Flyers uniform, he gets a goal from a nice clapper from the point.
Oh, that was a bomb.
Yeah, sadly, it was our only goal of the night, as I would say Elliott and Lyon, they both still played very, very good in that game. I wouldn't blame the goaltending on that. Just a couple breakdowns by the Flyers. Boston a little bit, outworking us a little
He
bit.
had a beautiful pass on the second goal too.
Yeah. Yeah, just a couple of good passing plays by the Boston Bruins for a couple of their goals. Really can't blame the goaltending in either game so far. Elliott and Lyon have looked very solid.
Yeah.
And just the veterans, probably their first game back in action for a while, so you should expect them to come out a little sluggish. But I still think Claude Giroux has looked pretty solid so far. Sean Couturier, I think that was only his first game. He looked pretty solid, so that chemistry is still there with Claude Giroux and Sean Couturier, so thank God there's nothing missing right there. And another common thing, I think the penalty kill has looked amazing this
They've been
preseason.
very aggressive.
Yes, that is something very different that the Flyers we haven't seen out of them with the Ian LaPerriere penalty kill.
Yeah.
Now with
which
Mike, now
we
with
did.
Mike, now you can go.
It was a lot of what the end of last season with how aggressive they were on the penalty kill. It started to come out. In the beginning of the season, it wasn't as much, but towards the end of the year, they were very aggressive, and the penalty kill started to go up in percentage and move up the slots in the league. And the power play looked really good last night too. And these last few games, they generated a lot of shots. They just haven't been able to score.
Yeah, that's the one problem. They just couldn't put the puck in the back of the net. And I just from the way Mike Yeo is running this penalty kill so far, even though it's not the full lineup, I like the way he's making the guys play. He's making them really aggressive, getting in the way of the passing lanes, getting in the way of the shots, and just making the goaltender's life a little easier. I think we haven't allowed that many shots on each power play so far. I think we've killed off every penalty that we've taken this preseason. I don't think we have allowed one power play goal.
No, they haven't. And last night, the Rangers, when they had their two power plays in the first period, they only generated like one shot.
Yeah,
I know in the second power play that they had, they didn't get any shots on goal.
yeah, that just shows to you how aggressive Mike Yeo is making this penalty kill for the Flyers. And who knows, we go into the regular season and this could be a whole different story. The Flyers can have, once again, the common theme of the worst penalty kill in the league. But right now, I feel a little bit confident with Mike Yeo's penalty kill system. I think it's going to work really well for this team. You got guys like Kevin Hayes, Sean Couturier now, Scott Lawton, and just other guys that can possibly play the penalty kill. So, you don't have to force Shane Gostisbehere to play the penalty kill. You got Matt Niskanen and Justin Braun. And that's another player we forgot to mention. Justin Braun has looked really good in his little few games here with the Flyers. I like his aggressiveness. I like the way that his stick always gets into the play. It's a constant active stick, which is what I like. And that's the one thing from San Jose fans that they love out of Justin Braun. He's constantly physical. He constantly keeps his stick in the play. He never takes a shift off, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, he showed that a lot in training camp too.
Yeah, Justin Braun just looks very aggressive. He constantly brings the body, has an active stick, which is really good. And now we go to the latest preseason game, which was the Flyers against the New York Rangers. And this is where it was mainly just a mostly veteran lineup for the Philadelphia Flyers against a majority rookie lineup for the New York Rangers. And what you expect, a veteran lineup takes advantage of an entire rookie lineup, and the Flyers win 4-1. And Carter Hart once again looked very well. He stopped every shot once again. JF Berube comes in. He only allows 1 goal, so both goalies looked really well. And both the penalty kill and the power play looked fantastic, which is a good sign. But the one thing I'm going to judge with the power play, I don't like that they're using Claude Giroux on the right side. That's one thing I don't like.
I think it's just a weird look. I mean, it did generate Van Riemsdyk's goal last night on that tip in front. And then it was kind of like the second goal was just about the same thing, but Hayes in front when he tipped it. So I think I think it's good that they are moving guys around, because the power play the last few years has been the same guys in the same spot all the time, which is kind of like the Capitals. I think teams are now starting to realize that they know it's kind of the same thing, even though they still leave Ovechkin wide open for a one-timer. I don't know why, but I think it's more of they understand what they're going to do. So I think it's okay that they have them switched on sides, but then again, I don't necessarily like it because they did have Konechny on that wall too. And then they at some point, sometimes they had Voracek up near where Giroux would be, and then Giroux kind of where the defenseman would be at the top, and then they just kind of move it around. But I think that's better anyway, because then there's different angles, different shots, things like that. And then you got more guys in front of the net. So, I mean, it's looked good so far, but I think it's just kind of weird, and I think it's just going to take some time for us to get used to.
Yeah. And it's just the one thing, going back to what you're talking about with Alex Ovechkin, I don't think anyone wants to stand in front of Alex Ovechkin because they don't want to break a foot or break their leg.
True.
So I don't think they want to get hit by an 100-mile-an-hour slap shot.
Yeah.
That's basically going to be the goaltender every time. But
yeah, but then again, you could just get one guy to stay on him and then have a 3-man play, because if he's not able to take the shot, then why won't? Because do you ever notice how they just lead, the one guy starts to creep in, and somehow Backstrom or Carlson's able to move it to Ovechkin, and he scores every time?
Yes.
I don't understand. I've seen
that. I saw that with the Flyers a lot last year when they played the Capitals. There was always no guys covering Ovechkin, and he would score every time off of that chance. So
he always scores from there.
It's a very common theme with Alex Ovechkin. When he's left wide open, he's going to score on the power play. So that's just a given. But yeah, just over that course of last night's preseason game, Carson Twarynski had a very nice goal
with the sack bunt.
Yeah, the little he shot it on net, then it went behind the goaltender. It was floating around for a little bit, and then he just batted it into the net. It was a little nice goal. And Carson Twarynski is also making a little bit of a name for himself. He's looked very good on that line with Scott Laughton. And God forbid Chris Stewart.
I don't know. He's been physical. I mean, he's gotten into a few fights. I mean, he's made a name for himself, but I don't think he's going to make the team. I don't see it.
God, I hope he doesn't make the team.
Yeah, it's just a waste of a spot for the younger guys, honestly.
It is.
And they don't have the cap for him. They only have 1.2.
Yeah, it's just Chris Stewart's not going to demand that much money, but why?
Yeah, but then again, you're just wasting cap space.
You're wasting cap space.
Right, for guys like Patrick and Lindblom for next season.
Yeah,
I don't know. No, I don't even want to think about that right now. there was so much I can't even think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, Chris Stewart, he's got into a few fights over the past few games, but it's his style of game, the physicality, the rough and tough guy. Yeah. That's not the game anymore. The game is more skill.
So fast.
It's skill based, it's fast, it's speedy. It's just Chris Stewart's type of game. Yeah, he had a 25+ goal season a couple years ago with the Minnesota Wild. Yeah, that's old news. This is Chris Stewart now. He's a rough and tough guy. His type of style doesn't fit with the league. If you're going to be a rough and tough guy, you have to have skill. Sadly, in this league, you have to have skill.
Guys like him are able to who could score goals and lay people out at the same time. That's why he plays. He gets the top line minutes.
Yeah, if you want to be that rough and tough guy in the league, you have to be like Tom Wilson. Besides the getting suspended for 20 games, you have to be able to put the puck in the back of the net. You have to chip in offensively, unless And if you can't do that, and if you're this rough and tough guy, you're basically useless. All
Right.
you're there is for the fourth line, maybe to pump your team up when you're losing and get a fight in there. But it's not the league anymore. It's not the early 2000s. It's not the Broad Street Bully days. It's not fit with the league anymore. If Chuck Fletcher does sign Chris Stewart to a contract, that's insanely ridiculous, and I will hate it every second. Just for
There's
how
any chance he can make the Phantoms?
It's a possibility that they would put him on the Phantoms, but I just don't want him to sign him to a contract regardless.
Yeah, same.
I just don't want him to be on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
because I don't know if you're able to give a guy like that 9-game thing. Are you? It's only for rookies, right?
It's either you sign him to a minor league deal or you sign him to a contract and then just put him on waivers to put him down with the.
Because they could maybe sign him to like a 700 2-year or two-way, a two-way deal. Contract. Yeah, something like that. But I mean, I don't know. As I said, it's just a waste of cap space. There's really no reason for it.
Yeah, there's just definitely no reason for Chris Stewart to be on this team, on this roster. It's wasting roster spots for guys like Farabee and Frost.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the most important thing. Let the young guys earn those spots. Don't give it to a guy like Chris Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't. And as we move forward in this podcast, we're going to take a break for a little bit. Next, we're going to talk about. I want to bring up some of the stuff with the new renovations with the Wells Fargo Center. Also, we're going to talk about a few player cuts right here and there, and also some interesting NHL news regarding Dustin Buffin of the Winnipeg Jets. So we're going to pause for a couple seconds to hear a word from our sponsor.
Hi, I'm Mark, and I'm one of the hosts of Massive Late Fee. Do you remember Blockbuster? Well, we do, and we racked up a lot of late fees there. That's why we're glad there's things like Netflix, Hulu, and Blockbuster has died, mostly because of us. We cover streaming shows and pretty much whatever we want. Join us every Thursday as we talk TV and movies on Massive Late Fee. You can find us at Massive Late Fee on Twitter, Massive Late Fee on Facebook. You can email the show at massivelatefee@gmail.com, and you can find us at MySpace, Massive Late Fee. Massive Late Fee, the best podcast we can think of.
And welcome back to the Flyered Up podcast. Yeah, so over the course of these couple of preseason games, there have been cuts along the way. And Chris, I know me and you have been discussing the few cuts that have been made here. Some interesting guys. Isaac Ratcliffe was sent down to the Phantoms. Felix Sandstrom, Alex Lyon, JF Berube were put on waivers to go down to Lehigh Valley. But everyone that has been placed on waivers in order to be sent down to Lehigh Valley have cleared waivers, so there's no one have to worry about anyone being placed or picked up from another team on waivers. So that's a little bit of a good thing. So Chris, who were some of the other guys from the Flyers in their prospect pool that have been sent down?
Okay, so the Flyers have sent down, they have returned Igor Serdurik, I guess that's how you say his name, Mason Millman, Igor Zamula, and Wyatt Wally to their respective CHL teams. And then they trimmed the roster by 18 players. So Tyler Weatherspoon, Nate Prosser, TJ Brennan, Chris Coulo, and Reese Wilcox, they were placed on waivers and they all cleared. So they're now going to be going to the Phantoms. And then Sandstrom, Cal O'Reilly, Greg Carey, Sushko, Ustamenko, Fitzgerald, Drake, Kasha, LaBerge, Ratcliffe, Strome, Michael, and Josh Couturier were all signed to the Phantoms.
Josh Couturier, the low and lost relative of Sean Couturier. And I don't think there's a relationship in there.
No, there isn't.
It's funny because when everyone sees that name, everyone's like, what the hell? When was there another Couturier on our team?
There was this one person I was talking to, and he was like, why is Couturier playing in the rookie game? I'm like, that's not Sean Couturier. He's like, who is it? I was like, it's Josh Couturier. He's like, oh.
No, the long lost cousin of Sean Couturier, possibly. Yeah. It's also another little fun fact of it. I was reading a couple tweets, I think, about after a game JF Berube played in, and someone asked, what does the JF in his name stand for? And because I know his actual name is Jean-Francois Berube, but someone commented on that post saying it's Jerube Ferube Berube. So a little funny thing right there. And I think Flyers fans all across the board, that's what his name has to be for the rest of the season. So everyone,
I should get a jersey like that.
So everyone, if you want to mention JF Berube, always mention his name as Jerube Ferube Berube, because that is his new permanent name with the Philadelphia Flyers. A little fun note right there. But yeah, just the guys like Isaac Ratcliffe. Yeah, he did have a chance to make the team, but he didn't really showcase, I guess, that well in the preseason games that he got the chance in took a
Yeah.
little bad penalties. He wasn't really getting many chances, so I think it's the
Yeah.
right idea to put him down in
He's
Lehigh
gonna
Valley to where
he's
he probably
gonna
gets 8 minutes.
yeah, he's gonna need some time in the AHL.
Yeah,
Like
but
he hasn't played bad, but I just he needs a little bit of time.
yeah, he just hasn't shown anything to where he would stand out like a guy like Joel Farabee or Morgan Frost. And
Oh yeah, no.
yeah, if he's
Definitely.
down with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, I believe he's going to get top line minutes. He's probably going to play on that first or second line. Going to get a
Yeah.
lot of power play time. So you might see a lot of good offensive numbers from Isaac Ratcliffe. Who knows? Maybe he'll spark the 50-goal mark again, like he did with the Gulf Storm.
I hope so.
Hopefully that'll happen. But you can always hope. And then you also got guys like Felix Sandstrom, Ustamenko that were also sent down to the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. And that's going to be an interesting thing now that you have 4 goalies with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. Like, so who do you send down to ECHL Reading? Like,
I
what guy-
say honestly, I think Sandstrom has earned a spot.
yeah,
I
I think
mean-
Sandstrom has earned a spot with the Phantoms because he did play for them a little bit last season. So I think
Mhm.
he earned that spot at least as a backup to Alex Lyon.
Yeah.
But then you also have you also have Jerube Berube that has to most likely is going to be with the Phantoms. So do you sign a guy to play with the ECHL? Then you also send a guy like Ustamenko down there so he can
I
get
could
some
see
play time?
Ustamenko maybe going down there. He was okay in the rookie game. I know he played good last season with his team, but I think he should definitely maybe go to Reading for just a little bit. I mean, it's not like it's going to be for the whole year or like 2 years. I'd say just give him a little bit of time, maybe regain his confidence. Because that rookie game, he looked real shaky in the beginning, giving up the first shot he took went in, and then he gave up 2 goals in that third period. But he played well. He played really well later in that game. But if honestly, I say you put Sandstrom up, maybe his backup, maybe give Berube the starter, maybe give Sandstrom, and then Ustamenko, you can put him down there. But then you have Alex Lyon too. That's another one. But maybe Lehigh Valley, you could have Lyon and Sandstrom. You could have Sandstrom and Berube. I mean, I really don't know what to say.
I think at this point, I feel JF Berube is the first goaltender that's going to be called up out of Alex Lyon or JF Berube because he was the one that stayed later than Alex Lyon. Lyon was put on waivers first. So I really feel like that Berube is going to be the guy that's going to be the first call-up. Because I think because Berube has more, I would say, NHL experience than Alex Lyon does.
Yeah.
So if you have a more veteran, I guess, guy to call up and get a game just in case a guy like Brian Elliott or Carter Hart get injured.
Yeah, which
Something
will
like that.
most likely be Elliott.
Yeah, which I don't want to imagine right now because it's definitely going to happen.
I can't.
Yeah, and also, guys, you got Dylan Strome. That definitely wasn't going to make the roster, but he's definitely going to get top 6 minutes, at least top 9 with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms.
You mean Matt Strom?
Yeah, Matt Strome, sorry. There's 3 Strome brothers, okay? It's too much to keep track of.
I know.
And then you also got Mark Friedman, who has shown in case a little bit of himself. He's a nice little defenseman right there. I feel like he can possibly be a call-up if need be, but he's definitely a top pairing guy down with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. And I do feel like with all these young guys that are being sent down to Lehigh Valley, the Phantoms are going to be really good this season.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And like what you said about Freeman, I was talking to my dad the other night. He was saying, he thinks Freeman will make the team. And I said, listen, I definitely I can agree with him. I mean, Freeman has played good. He's played good these last few years too, but they just have too much competition for that defensive spot. You have Gostisbehere, Braun, Provorov, Niskanen, and then you have Morin, Myers. Then what are they going to do at Hag? Like, I just don't think Freeman, he's a good player, but I think Freeman, you give him this year in Lehigh Valley. If he plays good enough, maybe call him up, maybe send Morin back down, maybe put Hag down there, maybe bring Freeman up for that 7th defenseman. I just think there's too much competition for Freeman to make the team right now.
Yeah, I think going into the season, as of now, what it looks like, I think the Flyers are going to be carrying 8 defensemen at this point.
Yeah.
Like you have
and that's
you have
a lot.
Provorov, you have Niskanen, you got Braun, you got Gostisbehere, Sanheim, Myers, Morin, and Haig.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe Chuck Fletcher finds a little bit of a trade there. Maybe a guy for like Morin, maybe a guy like Haig gets traded. Because we all know the Flyers fan base does not like Robert Haig because he is not a good defender.
Yeah. And another thing is, so the latest NHL news with Bufflin getting suspended and not maybe retiring, things like that. I think there's a chance that Hag could go to Winnipeg because they need defensemen. I mean, they lost Myers and Trouba, and now they lost Bufflin for at least this year, right?
It's the whole story with Dustin Byfuglien right now. He's just contemplating his career so far. He doesn't know if he wants to continue playing, doesn't know if he wants to retire. And the Winnipeg Jets, they only really suspended him just because so they can get the cap relief.
Yeah.
Because if he's suspended right now, it takes his cap off the roster right now. And if he decides he wants to come back and play, he could just go and tell the Winnipeg Jets front office, okay, I'm coming back, and the suspension's already lifted. So it's like it's really just for a cap relief thing with the suspension for Dustin Byfuglien.
And honestly, they need the cap because they still have Connor and Laine that they have to sign.
Oh God! No.
And Mikko Rantanen, who I know he's not on the Jets, but they have like $15 million in cap space too, and they still haven't signed him. But they have contracts that expire in the next few years, so they really can't sign him to the money that he wants as well.
Yeah, it's just players like Laine and Connor. It's funny because I know Laine had 2 really good seasons coming up since he was drafted. And last year, he started off really good, then started to really struggle down the stretch. I feel like he's really keying off his payday on what his first season was because that's the season he scored the most goals.
Yeah.
But
you can't go by first season. You have to go a general manager has to look at the season they just played because it's the most recent. I was watching the hockey guy. He explained this really well. He said he has to pay him the money that he showed last season. I mean, for only putting up 6 goals in the last, or it was like 6 something goals in the last half of the season, and then you have a stint where you get 18 goals, where you have a hat trick in one and then 5 in another game. So that's 8 right there. The other 10 are just coming in a few different games. So, how much could he want after how bad of a season that he played? And another thing was his shot percentage went down. The year before it was like a 17%. It went down last year to a 12%.
Are you telling me you got this information from Shannon, the hockey guy?
Yeah.
That you.
I mean, as much as he he knows a lot about hockey, but then again, he kind of just writes everything on a whiteboard and just.
Oh God! Don't bring up the whiteboard. He puts too much stuff on that. I love the guy. I do like watching his videos.
Yeah.
The
content's good. It's just there's so much on there.
How much
and
information?
You can't read it.
How much information he puts on that damn whiteboard, and he reads it word by word.
I know.
That's also what bothers me because my one friend, he constantly jokes with me about the hockey guy, and he'll joke because he has one friend that's in the NHL saying, I think it's Eric Robertson of the Columbus Blue Jackets. That's his one buddy, and the one preseason game where he scored a goal, I think it was against Pittsburgh, and his name was on the board. He texted me showing that this is probably the episode that I'll actually watch of Shannon. It's the one episode that I'll watch.
Yeah,
it's me and him like to go back and forth on. I love Shannon, but it's an easy channel to make fun of. But the guy's getting success from what he's doing right now. So you can't blame the guy right now. But just a little too much with the whiteboard. I think that's a little too much. But going back to Patrick Laine and Kyle Connor, it's just ridiculous right now. And there's been recently a ton of trade rumors spurling around Patrick Laine. I know Hockey Buzz isn't the most reliable source, but at the sources sometimes that I see, sometimes he gets it right because he does know people in the league. And there's been some trade talks apparently from Eklund saying that the Jets and the Flyers are in major trade talks, so I have no idea what the hell's going to happen there.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking Hag, because they just locked up Morrissey, and then they just have their left guys, and it's not like Hag can't play that right pair. I'm trying to think. Does Hag play left or right?
I think he switches either or, but I think he mainly plays left since he's the left-handed shot.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't necessarily matter what side they play. But majority of it is Hag is he's a solid defender. He's not great. He's decent. He's he has his moments, but all he really does is kind of just hit people and just take the puck away, but he kind of just fails to get it out of the zone.
Yeah, but, analytics don't favor him.
Yeah, no. But Hag, if Winnipeg needs a defenseman for this year, and especially because they can still compete with that division, if they can get Laine and Connor done, and if they can bring in some, defensemen, kind of like what Pittsburgh did last year when they brought in Gabranson for the Dumoulin and Letang absences, who played decent for them. But if Winnipeg can come in, they can bring in some guys. And if they're able to, kind of like restructure their team a little bit, I think they could still compete with that division.
Yeah, but it's the still major factor with Winnipeg. It's just that if you can't get Laine or Connor signed by the start of the season and they carry out into the season, that's like 60 goals off your books.
Right.
And I know I mentioned that many times, but that's a fact because you can't replace.
And there's no way Laine has the same season he does last year. He has to come back this year and have a good year.
He definitely has. He has to cut off the fortnight a little bit, but I do believe Laine does have the potential to be a 50-goal scorer, but not at the rate of Ovechkin. But he is a premier goal scorer in this league. But just the fact that he wants so much money right now, after the season he had last year, but I just don't know right now because now with this whole like trade talk between the Philly Flyers and Winnipeg, like. If this is about Patrick Laine, what the hell are the Flyers going to offer them?
I don't know. I mean, they don't need to trade anyone right now.
They don't.
They have the roster to compete in the league. And like, why are we talking about trades now when the season is, right around the corner and they did everything in June and everything was done and everything like that. And now we want to start talking about trade rumors again. And like, I don't understand. They have guys that can come in here and, play and do their job right every single night. And they're okay. Maybe you can argue they're missing a goal scorer, but I mean, if say Van Riemsdyk plays that full year last year, missed around 2-3 weeks, that could be 40 goals right there. Voracek could have a bounce back season. Kevin Hayes could have a good year.
Couturier,
right?
Get like 35 plus,
right?
If he plays a full,
I think Giroux
season.
Could get around 30 goals again.
Maybe if Giroux doesn't have to carry the team on his back, because I feel like the only reason he got 30 plus goals because he was carrying the team on his damn back. But if he had 2 years ago when he scored 100 plus.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he was carrying the team on his back.
So was Couturier.
Yeah, if Giroux has Sean Couturier there to put the puck in the net, and he has Travis Konency to put the puck in the net, I don't see a 30. Maybe he'll reach 30, but not 30 plus. I think Drew's more in the 25 plus range.
Yeah.
To where he gets his goal score. He's mainly there for the assist guy.
Yeah.
But if you can get guys like Sean Couturier to reach 35 plus, because he still scored 30 plus even though he didn't start the year healthy. So True. Couturier is a major threat right there. Travis Konecny, he's scored 20, 24 plus in his past 2 seasons, so I expect him hopefully to get his offensive production up a little bit. Jake Voracek, maybe he has a little bit of a bounce back year, but he's the same way as Giroux. He's pass first guy. So then you have JVR, Kevin Hayes, maybe that guys that could put the puck in the net. It's a big line there, so it might be a little intimidating right there. But then you also got guys like Joel Farabee. Joel Farabee has a really good shot. What if this kid turns into a goal scorer?
Yeah,
so
that is true. I think he could definitely come in and score a couple of goals. And I think another guy that could get around 20, 25 goals, Oscar Lindblom. I mean, when Patrick comes back, he should at least have a better year and definitely maybe get, I don't know, maybe 25 goals too. And then if you can maybe say Scott Lawton comes off the season he just had, which is his best career points-wise with 32. But if he comes in, he can maybe put up 15, 20 goals.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that can at least reach double digits in goals on this roster. It's a given.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I don't want to go look too far in the future, but say if like Patrick, his injury like leaks a little bit into the season, he's maybe out for like a couple weeks into the season.
Right.
Maybe if he doesn't, I would say have that, I would not breakout year, but if he not around the same that he had last year, but it's not breakout. It's like more in between. I don't see Patrick asking for a lot of money because he really hasn't proven himself.
Yeah.
The same thing with Oscar Lindblom. I don't expect him to ask for a lot of money because I feel like those two might be a little.
He had a little stint in the 17-18 season. He didn't play much. His first game was in like March against Washington, and then his first goal was in March. But then he really didn't play much. And then last year, he played a majority of the season, put up 17 goals. And another thing is like where the defense too. Like Sanheim had a good year last year too, offensive wise. Provorov, he was okay. But I think Gostisbehere can definitely have a bounce back year offensively.
Definitely. And also going to a guy like that's also expiring this year, RFA Phil Myers. This is going to be his first full season in the NHL, so he's definitely not going to ask that much. Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm getting over $3 million.
Yeah,
maybe 2.5.
Hopefully, that's the case as we pray this start of the Flyer season goes the way we want it to, and the way everyone wants it to, because everyone's begging for the Flyers to at least be relevant this time.
Yeah,
because they're dropping off the base of the Flyers. Well, not the Philadelphia fan base right now. We all know the Flyers are bottom tier in everyone's book, except for those guys that are hockey first people, and there are quite a few of those people. But everyone's hoping that the Flyers can at least be relevant this season. Yes, we're all hoping that. So to get into a little fun talk about the new renovations with the Wells Fargo Center, I feel like we've talked about this a lot, but it's something you have to see in person.
It does not do its full justice until you see that thing in person.
The more people talk about it, it's like you have to experience the new renovations if you go to a game. And I feel like the best way for people to go to a game, go into the balcony seats, because I was up there for yesterday's game because I think all ticket holders had an option to go up there. There was an email sent out to people and stuff like that. So I got to go up there. I forget what it's called. I think it's called the Assembly Room, and it's all standing room. The entire thing is standing room only.
And it's all the way up.
It's all the way up. It's a great view, and only $25 a ticket for standing room for both Flyers and Sixers.
Which really isn't bad.
That is not bad whatsoever.
I mean, usually Phillies games for standing room is around 17, 18, and that's not bad either, because honestly, I like to stand more than I sit at games. I don't even sit in my seat. I'm on the edge of my seat. Like last night, I sat ice row behind where the Flyers shoot twice, and I didn't sit in my seat. I sat on the edge of my seat with my hands on the ledge of the glass, and I was just so into the game. So I think standing room is good because you're able to move around more and you're not crammed in the seats, because more of the seats up top in Wells Fargo are really small and they're kind of crammed in. But then down low, the more money the ticket is, the more space and everything, more room, things like that you're going to have. But personally, I like standing room, and I also like setting up more high. But I had a chance to sit low for last night's game, and I figured why not, because the tickets were cheap to sit ice row. So I pounced on it. So, but I definitely do think that sitting up top is the best view because you can see everything. And if you sit low, kind of like last night, when the Flyers were shooting in the second period down the other side, I had to look up at the Jumbotron. I just couldn't see. And I didn't even see Torrency's goal go in because it's so far away I can't see. And if you kind of sit in the middle, there's a glare on the glass in the corners, so you can't see there either. That's why I like sitting up high, because you can see everything.
Yeah, and when I was up there, it's just the atmosphere that was up there, it looked amazing. You have the little row in the front that I guess where if you have a standing room ticket, you'll have your labeled seat that you want to sit at, possibly. But just throughout the whole thing, there's a bar there, there's a little snack stand, there's couches everywhere, there's fireplaces, you can sit down and relax during the periods and stuff like that. It just looks, for $25 $25 for a standing room ticket, that's basically luxury. And there's also the Liberty Lofts that are right next to the standing room place. I think those are more for reserve type parties things. So, but I would recommend standing room any day. I really want to go to Sixers opening night now with that standing room ticket, because that'll be an insane steal. Yeah. And just with all the other renovations and stuff with the Wells Fargo Center, not everything is open, but majority of the stuff right now is. So that's very nice to see. The new sportsbook place that's going with the Wells Fargo Center, that's going to be where in the balcony where the assembly room is. Because I was talking with a few of the security guards yesterday, they were saying over here, this is going to be where the whole sportsbook thing is going to be. I was oh, that's pretty nice. While watching a Flyers game, I can go bet over there on other things. So even though I would never do that because I am terrible with gambling, I would never do that. But it's nice for people who like to gamble on sports, who like to bet on stuff, win money. It's just the whole atmosphere with the Wells Fargo Center is insanely different, and just the new scoreboard. I almost forgot to talk about the new scoreboard. That thing is amazing.
Oh my God. It's so clean. Like you're able to see everything, and I like how if you've been to a game yet, I definitely suggest you go. But they have all the stats that you would see like on the old scoreboard they would bring up for like a minute or two, and then they'd go back to the scoreboard. Now they're on there. Like they had like power play goals, stats, shots, all that stuff was up on the scoreboard, and that's another thing that I like. And plus, it's big, and it's a lot different than the other scoreboard because I was kind of just getting tired of the old scoreboard. It was just always the same thing all the time. And then last year, or actually the year before that, they changed the score, what it looked like itself, because it used to be the number over like in the middle of each team's logo, and then it would be like like Flyers at the top, and then say like Rangers on the other side. And the scoreboard, it was old. It's been there since Wachovia Center, when it used to be called that.
I think that scoreboard previously was like around maybe like 10, 12 years old.
Yeah.
It was a very old scoreboard.
I mean, I love that scoreboard. I thought it was cool. But I think the new one is cool too. And another thing is it moves and everything. And another thing like about the concourse itself, when on the first level where you can like go and buy food and stuff, they actually don't have the souvenir cups down low anymore. You can only get them up top.
That's interesting. I don't remember seeing that.
I found that out last night. Because I collect the souvenir cups. I have all of them since 2010 and onward. But all the drinks down in the lower section are all bottled, and then the ones up top are in the cups.
That's interesting. I never knew that.
And they actually have now like these marble counters down there, and then there's like these electric boards that like go up on the top, and they got like say like the Flyers logo, and under the counters, I'm assuming that the lights change colors because they had them lit up for orange last night, and say like the Sixers play, they'll be like blue or something, and maybe if there's like a concert, they'll just be like different colors throughout the arena. So I thought that was really cool. I did do a video on that. I did a vlog for last night's game. Please go check that out if you want to see some more stuff about Wells Fargo Center.
Yeah, just going back to the scoreboard. It's just like when I was there on Monday, it was not fully open. It was still closed, but it was still big. But like the one thing they were talking about, like the whole intermission people and all that stuff, they were talking about. We're not going to show the full functions of our scoreboard till opening night, so I'm assuming that's like the way they show it expanding to the public. But like the past few nights, it's actually been fully expanded, but you just didn't see it open in person. So I think they're going to save that for opening night when they do their whole presentation thing and stuff like that. So it's going to be a fun night, and also an interesting note for college students. I think all season long, if you like use your college email or like show your college ID at the box office or something like that, you get $20 tickets. So nice little steal for college students right there, like myself, even though I have season tickets. But if you're a college student like me, take advantage of that if you want to go to a Flyers game. And just this season as a whole, going to be very exciting to watch. The Flyers have a couple more preseason games left to go. They got tomorrow against the Boston Bruins, which probably following that game we'll probably see a little bit more cuts. Like getting more used to seeing what the roster is going to look like. Brian Elliott's going to get the full start tomorrow. Then we have this Thursday, the 26th, upcoming against the New York Rangers. Carter Hart is going to get the start there. Then that following Friday, the Flyers will take the plane trip to Europe, to Switzerland, where they will play that Switzerland team on Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then the following Friday will be the regular season opener. So going to be a very fun 2 weeks here for Flyers hockey. And I can't wait for everything that's coming up. So I think for wrapping up this podcast, Travis Konecny signs his contract. The preseason has been very interesting so far. A lot of players have been standing out. Just guys like Joel Farabee, Morgan Frost, and the veterans too. Penalty kill, power play. Carter Hart standing out. It's been a very interesting week in Philadelphia for Philadelphia Flyers hockey so far. And Chris, just what are you looking forward to as the season draws even closer?
More goals.
Just more goals.
That's the main thing that I want to see, especially with all these veterans starting to play, and especially with the with all the goaltending playing well. Hart not having given up a goal yet. Hopefully that continues into the season. But I'm just excited. I want them to start to move the puck a lot more and then generate a lot of shots. Last night they had 40 shots on goal with a lot of veterans playing. So hopefully they can continue with all the offensive hype that they've had so far.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting 2 weeks as the season comes even closer. So for Amadeo Garcia and Chris May here, this has been the third episode of the Fired Up Podcast, and we will see you in the next episode.